Now let's imagine that this cube is a character, okay, and it can be any type of character. It can be something like an NPC, where you go up to a non-playable character and you can talk to that character and they're going to give you some information, or it could be an enemy character, or it could even be a player character. So it can be a variety of those. We could have it, for example, in the script whereby we need somebody to tell us which one it is. Okay, so we could do that in a number of ways. We could either have public string, have this as character type. Okay, maybe we'll default that at NPC. Okay, now if it is a string, obviously it needs to be in string format. There we go. Or we could have, for example, some booleans. So public bool. We could have NPC. We could have enemy. We could have player. Okay, so if we take a look in our inspector. All right, so we could, for example, check one of these. So it's an NPC, so let's click this. Or if it's an enemy, we can click this. This is fine. Or we could get them to type that in. So it's an enemy. All right. The issue with this, actually typing the item in, is that somebody could type it wrong. Maybe they're not aware that it actually needs a capital E, and they type it wrong, or they make a spelling mistake and suddenly the thing stops working. Alright, so actually getting somebody to type something in and using this in an if statement, let's imagine, is going to cause all sorts of issues. Now something like this, like a boolean, is fine. Okay, we can do various if statements of booleans. It's just, it's taking up a lot of space in the inspector. Alright, particularly if we've got way more character types. A much better way to do this is having a drop down, very much like this, where we've got this interpolate, we've got this nice little drop down, or we've got this one, and these are enums. Okay, so let's take a look at creating an enum instead. If we create an enum inside of a class, this is going to be available only inside of this one script. If we create an enum outside of the class up here, whatever we create there is going to be available to all scripts. Okay, so let's just imagine that we just want this on this one script. So we'll say it's a public enum, and I'll call it, I've already got character type, so I'll put character select, let's imagine. And then inside of here, I can put the different types. So we have NPC, we have enemy, and we have player. Okay, so now I can actually change this public string of character type. So it's actually the type of the enum, and the type is the name that we've given the enum. So we can say the type is character select. Now we can't initialize that in this way. If we did want to initialize it, let's say we wanted it to be set on enemy to begin with, then we would say character select, character type rather, dot enemy. Let me have a look. Have I spelled that wrong? Oh, it is character select dot enemy. There we go. All right, just got the wrong one. So we can initialize it as that. Okay. Now, because we've got that as a variable, and you do have to declare it as a variable, it will then be a drop down. So just creating the enum on itself will not give you the drop down until you create a variable of that type and give it a unique name. You don't always have to initialize an enum. So let's now take a look. So now I've got a drop down, starts on enemy, but I can choose NPC or player. So I can change over to player now, and notice how easy that is. I'm not going to have any kind of issue with spelling, and it's taking up less space than all of these booleans. So if I take out those booleans and just leave the in fact, let me get rid of the initialization as well. So I've just got character type. And now it's whatever I selected before. Okay, most likely it'll start on NPC, but notice how easy that is now. Okay, for me to actually select an enemy type. And then later in the script, obviously we would use something like a switch, or we could use an if statement in order to decide what happens if you've selected enemy, player, or NPC.